acceleration over here. Now,
there's basically where you take one of them first. So it's always like you take one concept, one product, where you look into, okay, how do you build this up in a sustainable way? Which is, how do you scale this that it is working, but with the long-term perspective?
Yeah.
Which I see a lot of companies failing because they want to have it out today, and tomorrow they want to have the 2 million turnover of it, which works in some organizations, but it's not the normal case. So how do you plan that in? It's also connecting it to the change. Every product you launch is a change, and other problems will arise when you launch a product or have a new concept which you bring alive. So what are the changes needed inside your organization, and or with the marketing, and or with the customer messaging, and or how you run that inside the business? And then I always go towards the story. So how do you tell the story? How do you help to make this alive, which is a lot of marketing, but it's also how do you structure your messages in a way that you empower your customers and our clients, depending on what you work with, to tell the story.
Yeah.
So in the best case, everyone else is telling your story, and you don't need to spend money. If you just take the easy version, then you look into how do you sell that. Then you go into what are the different sales structures that help you to make that happen. That can be a sales funnel, that can be a normal e-commerce website, that can be one-on-one, whatever the right sales methodology is for your product, for your concept, is basically part of this one. And then it goes into implementation, which is like, okay, we now understand all of that. That's basically the preparation. Then you launch it. That's then going into the implementation.
Jens, this is awesome. Like,
fairly easy.
Yeah, it's like now that because the thing is, when I looked at the diagrams the first time, I looked at them in a sequential way, which they are in sequence. But the thing is, they actually feed into each other. And that's what I got from this is that each little funnel is actually a bounce or a step into the next one. But the other thing, of course, also what you pointed out, I mean, we do realize that you look at this. I'm quite excited the fact that there's a lot of detail here, but then there is a lot of work that sits underneath each of those topics. Like prototyping, for example, is a huge thing. Sustainability, and then sales. I mean, you need to get the product out there and think about sales strategies, that kind of stuff. But I think that what you've done is you've taken, because sometimes what I've seen is that you kind of latch the innovation structure onto a kind of design thinking process, and then it feels a bit wonky. Because everybody wants to do a workshop and have a product, but this kind of shows you more a long-term kind of flow of what's going to happen and how this thing needs to build out. But then the other thing I would probably add, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm going crazy because I'm excited, is that that this is not necessarily a linear process that happens over time in an organization. You can have different ideas sitting at different steps within this flow, right? It's kind of like an agile thing that happens.
Exactly. And it's also, you can as well take just one phase and have a look. Like you have a specific product which you think is working. You just take one of the canvases and go into experiment or go into rebuild and just run yourself through it, or with your team, which just helps you to understand. It's a bit like business model canvas. Business model canvas is basically the main idea where I took this from, because I have used business model canvas a lot in the past.
Very handy, yeah.
And for me, this is an easy way, if you know how to handle it, to get an understanding of your business. And that's basically what I took. I want to create something as easy as that. I mean, it will never work that you can do it without any explanation, but it's for me the most simple way, and I can coach you on that high level, or I can coach you in all the detailed levels, or the coaches of my business can do that. And it's not just me.